Is Western world losing its attention towards Ukraine? As the war in Ukraine enters its second year with no end in sight, both Western and Ukrainian politicians are becoming increasingly concerned about the possibility of Ukraine fatigue. A few months ago, Sweden's foreign minister stated to the New York Times that media interest in the issue is declining, and this is also affecting the public, which in turn is affecting politicians. Ukrainian President Zelensky acknowledged this in June, stating that fatigue is growing and people want some kind of outcome, but warning that this is all part of Putin's strategy to wear down the West. Western politicians are clearly hesitant to test their public's patience. Both Macron and Biden have reportedly told Zelensky privately that Ukraine may need to cede territory in order to bring the war to a close. Some politicians, particularly the so-called Freedom Caucus of Republicans in the U.S. House of Representatives, have openly questioned whether the West is doing the right thing in supporting Ukraine. So, is Ukraine fatigue a real phenomenon? Is Western support for Ukraine actually waning? And what should Western politicians do about it? Polling suggests that, at least in Europe, support for Ukraine remains stable. In the US, however, things are more complicated, with polling indicating a decline in support among Republicans. Despite this, it is important to note that the majority of Americans still support aiding Ukraine. However, the decline in support among Republicans is something that Western politicians should be aware of and address. Additionally, while support for Ukraine may be stable in Europe, it is important for politicians to continue to raise awareness about the ongoing conflict and the need for a resolution. Furthermore, Western politicians should continue to push for a peaceful resolution to the conflict, while also standing firm on the principle of Ukraine's territorial integrity. Ultimately, it is important for Western politicians to continue to support Ukraine and not give in to Putin's strategy of wearing down the West's support. In addition, Western politicians should also continue to push for humanitarian aid and support for the people of Ukraine who have been affected by the war. This can be done by providing financial aid, supporting the development of infrastructure and social services, as well as helping refugees and internally displaced persons. Furthermore, Western politicians should also continue to push for a political solution to the conflict, through diplomatic efforts and negotiations. They should also continue to push for the respect of human rights in Ukraine and condemn any violations. The situation in Ukraine is complex and the war has been ongoing for a long time. It is important for Western politicians to not let public opinion dictate their actions, and to continue to support Ukraine and push for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In addition to continuing their support for Ukraine, Western politicians should also work on building a stronger and more unified front in the face of Russia's aggression. They should continue to impose sanctions and take other measures to put pressure on Russia to respect Ukraine's territorial integrity and end the conflict. Furthermore, they should also work on strengthening their own military capabilities and alliances to deter any further aggression from Russia. Moreover, Western politicians should also work on improving their communication and transparency with the public, to ensure that the public is well informed about the situation in Ukraine and the reasons behind the West's actions. By providing accurate and reliable information, Western politicians can help to maintain public support for Ukraine and build a stronger consensus for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. In short, Western politicians should not let the perception of Ukraine fatigue discourage them from continuing to support Ukraine, push for a peaceful resolution and address the humanitarian crisis in the region. They should be aware of the significance of the situation and take actions accordingly, while also keeping the public informed and engaged. Lastly, Western politicians should also be aware of the impact of the war in Ukraine on the region and Europe as a whole. The ongoing conflict has destabilized the region, and it's important to find a solution as soon as possible to prevent any further escalation. Additionally, the war in Ukraine has also affected the relationship between Russia and Europe, and it's important for Western politicians to consider the implications and consequences of their actions. In summary, while it may seem that public interest in the Ukraine conflict may be declining, Western politicians should not let this affect their actions and continue to support Ukraine and push for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. They should also continue to address and raise awareness about the humanitarian crisis and the ongoing violations of human rights in the region. Thanks for watching this video. We hope you found it informative and thought-provoking. Remember to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. We love hearing from you and engaging in conversations about important issues. Don't hesitate to reach out to us with any questions or feedback. Thanks again for your support and stay tuned for more content from us. Have a great day and see you soon.